I want to welcome you guys all to our State of the Cities luncheon here today. And I want to thank Fremont Hills for having us here today. And got a beautiful day to have a nice luncheon. I'm Scott O'Brien. I'm the 2015 chairman of the Los Altos Chamber of Commerce. Some other folks that I would like to introduce today: the Los Altos Hills City Manager Carl Cahill is here. The Los Altos City Manager Marcia Summers. Los Altos Police Chief Tuck Eunice. And Captain Rick Sung from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. Thank you to all of you for attending. I'd like to now introduce some of the fellow chamber board members that are here in attendance today. First, Sherry Dodsworth. Bob Galen. Jack Kelly. Gay Krause. Ilona Lindauer. Mike McTighe. And our ex officio board member, Deborah Padovan. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors here today, and I'd like to particularly thank Young Craig & Company Certified Public Accountants for being our major underwriter of today's event. So thank you very much. From Young Craig & Company, we have here today, we have Dennis Young, who's here. Bob Galen. Lonnie Gary. Mark Larandini. And Karen Stiles. I'd also like to recognize El Camino Hospital as the Chamber's first premier member, and a special thanks to Brenda Tossig, who's here today for El Camino Hospital. I'd also like to acknowledge our second premier member, who unfortunately couldn't attend, but Lark Networks just joined as our second premier member in the last month. So thank you to them as well. All of the centerpieces you see at your table today were provided by Brian Davino of Davino Florist over on Main Street. So thank you, Brian, for supplying all of those centerpieces today. So that's what I have for introductions now. I'll be back in about 30 minutes to introduce the rest of our program. So enjoy your lunch. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I hope all of you have been enjoying your lunch. We're wrapping up here, so I want to get us started with the program here. So now it's time we're going to hear from both of our mayors from Los Altos and Los Altos Hills, and they're going to give us an overview of what's happening in each of their cities. And first, I'd like to introduce Jan Pepper, the mayor of Los Altos. Jan was elected to the Los Altos City Council in November of 2012. She has a Bachelor of Science and an MBA from Stanford University. Jan raised her two children here in Los Altos and both attended our public schools. And she is a past president of the League of Women Voters. And Jan is currently employed by Silicon Valley Power, the municipal electric utility for Santa Clara, the city of Santa Clara. So please welcome Jan.
Thank you all for coming today. Can you hear me okay in the back? Too loud, too soft, just right? Just right. All right. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today as we look at the state of our city in Los Altos. And before I get started, I want to say thank you to our Los Altos city staff for their dedication and all their great work that they do, and also to my fellow council members for all the fun we have together. The council has adopted 4 key goals: promote effective government, develop a downtown plan, address aging infrastructure, and continue prudent fiscal management. So my talk today will address many of these areas, and as you will see, parts of this presentation will be different than what you're used to here, so I hope you like it. Los Altos, 2015. What's top of mind? There's quite a bit, as you will find. Communicate and recreate, go downtown and bike around. Transportate and educate, keep it green and go be seen. There's prudent fiscal management and safety first with funds well spent. So join with me for just a bit as we walk about on this city trip. Extra, extra, read all about it. The council agenda, the town crier touts it. Our agenda is published a week in advance, so the public is informed and can comment perchance. This new policy has another part. That's bigger signs before building starts, and story polls for the biggest of all, so you can envision what might be installed. Some of you will recognize this. When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. Don't hang around and let your problems surround you. There are movie shows downtown. Some of us say, let's stay quaint and small, whereas others would like to develop it all. The question we ask is, what is our vision? Let's develop a plan and make some decisions. We conducted a survey to be more aware. Is downtown for us, or do we want to share? What do you like? Do you want more? We need your opinion. We need to explore. Vibrancy, vibrancy, why is it so neat? Is it jazzy and peppy with feet on the street? Is it music and nightclubs and places to eat? Is it dancing with friends and fun places to meet? Committees have formed with great volunteers, reviewing the buildings built in the last years. Do they meet the regs? Are they in the zone? What could we have done if we had only known? Another committee, a dedicated bunch, is looking at parking. Is there enough for lunch? How can we best use what already exists? Are there empty spaces? Can we make a list? The New York Times columnist Tom Friedman wrote, "My candidate for best lead paragraph on a news article so far this year goes to Tom Goodwin, an executive at Havas Media, whose essay March 3rd on TechCrunch.com began, Uber, the world's largest taxi company, owns no vehicles. Facebook, the world's most popular media owner, creates no content. Alibaba, the world's most valuable retailer, has no inventory. And Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, owns no real estate. Something interesting is happening. We're at the start of a major shift on the question of what's worth owning. Will Los Altons actually own cars that they need to park in 5 or so years? We're great inventors of new technology and are quick to jump in here in Los Altos and Los Altos Hills. One interesting statistic is the number of Teslas here in Los Altos and Los Altos Hills, more than in other similar communities across the state. We love new technology and we go for it. So since we're early adopters here, will we move to this new model of not owning cars in the future? Will a self-driving car take us where we want to go and then go off and park itself, or will it go pick up the next person that calls it? And will this change the need for parking? And how soon might this occur? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And how should we integrate this into our planning? Apparently, Palo Alto is designing their parking structures with the idea that they might eventually not be needed, so they need to be buildings that can be modified to become office or retail in the future. Interesting food for thought. And as evidenced by our adoption of Teslas, will we be ahead of the curve and provide adequate charging stations for cleaner electric cars? Governor Brown's recent executive order has a goal of 50% less petroleum use by the year 2030. For those cars that we will need to park in town, we need to provide the infrastructure to charge them while their owners enjoy our business districts. And to keep on the cleaner and greener theme, you all should expect that from me, we have an exciting opportunity to look at adopting a community choice energy program. This would allow us to have up to 100% renewable energy in the electricity that's delivered to our homes and businesses, cleaner than what PG&E is providing. And it might be possible for us to get this at an equal or even a lower cost. So our Environmental Commission is looking at the options, including joining in with other Santa Clara County cities to bring this opportunity to us. And other business models are emerging that they're also carefully considering. And one big advantage of going forward on community choice energy is that this can take us a long way towards meeting our climate action plan goals while we're improving the environment and our wallets at the same time. So I want to pause here and give particular focus to our community center plans. So I'm introducing another voice who speaks in rhyme. This co-conspirator, Bob Simon, has provided some, shall we say, alternative verses to go along with the next points I want to make. Like some of the rest of us, our city poet is going to seem fixated on the importance of a successful bond election. So here we go. We're throwing a big party. It's going to be first rate. We want to pull out all the stops. We just haven't set the date. Is there something you can bring? So kind of you to ask. Please just bring a bond with you and one that's safely passed. Our field of dreams, a dream come true. Our athletes, worthy of the name. Our teams, pride of the Little League, our bond in the Hall of Fame. Do you call that a swimsuit? This is a lap pool, not a pond. And about our liquid assets, everybody into the bond. She meets new friends, buffs up her bridge. Senior center, getting chummy. A sure win is in the cards. She bids one bond. She's no dummy. Won't you join us for a snack? There'll be treats of which you're fond. Pass the ketchup, pass the mustard, pass the mayo, pass the bond. So it goes without saying that I too, along with Bob, am very enthusiastic about a bond that would give Los Altos a great new community center with adjacent park, pool, and playing fields that we can also share with our neighbors in Los Altos Hills. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't discuss the dollars and cents of our city. Fiscal management is always on our list of important tasks in the city. In fact, last night, the council spent many hours reviewing the next capital budget and our next operating budget, and as it turns out, we're sitting pretty. So thank you for taking this trip through Los Altos. we're busy as busy can be. Much thanks to our staff who keep me worry-free, and to you and Bob Simon, who made a poet of me.
Thank you, Jan. That was a very informative and entertaining rhyme. Next, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Los Altos Hills, Courtney Corrigan. And Courtney was elected to the Los Altos Hills City Council in November of 2012, has a bachelor's degree from Kenyon College in Ohio. She and her husband, Sean, have 3 sons, and she has served on the Pathways Committee for the last 6 years. Please welcome Courtney.
Thank you very much. That's not going to stay. Here, I'm going to put my water over here. There's a shortage going on, you know. I bring my own. Hi, I'm Courtney. I am so pleased to be here. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for putting this together year after year. It's such an exciting opportunity to talk about the things that are happening in our city. I'd like to thank Fremont Hills Country Club for opening their doors and letting us be here today. My lunch was delicious. I swore as I put on this white shirt I wasn't going to eat, but I did. And then finally, I'd like to thank Jan Pepper for setting the stage here. We have a lot of people say the best neighbors are good fences. I actually think it's good dialogue, and Jan and I have a very open dialogue between the two of us, and a great working relationship between Los Altos Hills and Los Altos. So, with that, let's get started. This is the current Los Altos Hills City Council. When you look at that picture, you'll notice, well, maybe it's not that obvious actually, but 4 out of 5 of us share something in common. One is different, and since it's not totally evident, I'll share it with you. 4 out of 5 of us have a motorcycle's license. And I'll let you know I'm one of the 4. The current issues facing the city, fortunately, we've just approved with the help of our joint FIC, Financial Investment Committee. We sat down last week and looked at our budget. We're in pretty darn good shape. We feel pretty good about it. In fact, we were able to actually superfund some of our pension liabilities this year, which I'm very excited about. We're seeing rising home prices and property values throughout the hills, and with that, more building, which is both a silver lining and a curse, depending on who you ask. It's a great time to be in Los Altos Hills, and we're having a pretty healthy financial outlook. Is a good place to be. So there's 3 main issues I'm going to walk you through today that our city residents are facing. Those of the residents who are on sewer are facing a fairly large increase in sewer fees. About 1,700 of our residents enjoy sewer. They have about 60 miles of sewer lines throughout our town. Most of that aging infrastructure is now, on average, about 45 years old. Some of it as old as 70 years, and we're definitely seeing the need to make capital improvements, as well as capital improvements going on to Palo Alto, who handles what comes out of those sewer pipes. So we recently passed the resolution, and I was quoted that night as saying it was sort of the least egregious of our options, because I know nobody likes to see raised fees. The other issue, of course, is water. Throughout California, it's a huge issue, obviously, and their residents in the hills are served by both Purisima and Cal Water. So we're working closely with both of the water providers to figure out what our residents need to know and how we can conserve. And the city itself is taking aggressive steps with our relationship at Purisima to make sure that we are being conservative ourselves with waters. In fact, to that point, we also have a contractual relationship with the Little League that is helping defray some of our city costs, which is a great relationship for the youngsters who play baseball in town. The other big issue going on in Los Altos Hills is crime. We've had last year about 46 break-ins. It really created a lot of concern for our residents. I'm pleased to say year to date, we've seen 6. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department provides outstanding service. In fact, we're one of the 3% of the safest cities in the state of California. And thanks to new technologies, you're seeing video and footage of people unfortunately breaking into our residents' homes, but we're arresting them even faster as a result. So we've just extended that contract another 10 years with the Sheriff's Office, and happy to say it's working out quite well. Certainly the numbers speak for themselves this year. Some of the exciting things we do in Los Altos Hills include programs which help tie our neighbors together. Many of us are spread out across a great deal of area, so we do a lot of a robust park and rec program run by both a volunteer committee and Sarah Gualtieri, who puts together our activity guide every year. We have great programs, technology for seniors, Lego flicks are pictured here, a lot of camp programs, as well as a very successful relationship we entered into last year up at West Wind Barn. The program up there is flourishing, and there's horseback riding for folks of all ages. So if you have any interest, make contact with Victoria Dye. She'd love to see you. And there are a lot of neat horses up there if you'd like to go give horseback riding a shot. Of course, we have our annual Earth Day celebration and Hopping Hounds. We have the Pathways Run, which just happened. We had our largest turnout ever. In fact, a 10% bump, over 520 runners this year. It was very exciting up here in the hills. We have our hoedown and barn lighting. And of course, coming up in June 7th for our residents, we have the town picnic. These are all great ways for residents to get out, see each other, get to know each other, strengthen the relationships we have with one another. So some of the town projects that have gone on in the last year that I'm pleased to report on. Last year's pet project, Mayor John Radford had a dog park on his mind, and we got that completed. Yes. We have a lot of four-legged friends that are very happy about it, as well as residents of dog owners. An awesome water fountain down there and a bench. It's really a neat place. If you haven't found it yet, it's along Purisima Road. So my pet project this year has been, sadly, one that you may not be able to see tangible results on this year, but I'm working very hard to strengthen the safety net that we have for our seniors so that people who are choosing to age in their own homes can do so with dignity and have the safety nets they and their families need so that they can stay as long as they'd like in our community. Working closely with El Camino Hospital, and of course I'm so proud of the robust CERT program we have in Los Altos Hills. So we're trying to figure out ways to really strengthen and improve our knowledge of where our residents are and what their needs may be. So in a case of emergency, we can help them. So how do we do all these things? Well, first of all, we have an incredible number of volunteers who serve on multiple committees, both in town and throughout the county, and certainly jointly with Los Altos. Over 117 volunteers bring expertise of all kinds to these committees. Many of them do things that, frankly, the city just couldn't afford to even pay for. So we are so eternally grateful to the volunteers who serve on all of our committees. We also have an incredible town staff. Currently, 19 people are doing the work of enormous work. We've seen a huge influx of building and planning permits coming in, a lot of activity going on at Town Hall. You may have heard I have office hours on Monday down there, so I see firsthand how busy we are. It's really an incredible amount of work these 19 very dedicated people are doing. And to that end, I am going to actually call out 3 individuals. I asked the town to give me a list of just a short list of some of the things our public works do. This is what I got back. As you can see, it's an incredible and complex list with lots of tasks. I had it add at the bottom, do it all with a smile, because that really reflects how these guys go about their job. I'd like to ask, if I'm not embarrassing them, Jacob, Oswaldo, and Hector to stand up and wave really fast. Thank you. I'd also like to share a little story. The night that I was sworn in as mayor, we had some of the worst storms in the area that had hit hit in years. You may remember last December. I got a call midday as things were getting ready for the swearing in that these three individuals had been working around the clock for about 4 days prepping for this storm. They had cleared out storm drains, they had cleaned up swales, cut branches, anything they could see that our town needed in advance of these storms. In addition, they were going to spend the night in our courtyard for the next 2 nights to be on call and ready to address any of our residents' needs in a moment's notice. I found this incredibly compelling and in fact reached out to them later and got a tour of the courtyard.
chap came in and he read every one and he said, Mo, I am so impressed. You are the only agent I know in America that makes friends in government. He said it is very important to keep on the right side of the politicians. He said, what do I do for you? I said, well, you give my clients a free breakfast and a room upgrade. This chap owns a 5-star property in Florence. He said, well, because of your government connections, I will give every Los Altos client that you send to us a free spa treatment. So, thank you, government. So, Sam Pisner is a jolly interesting chap. He grew up in Los Angeles and went to Inglewood High School, which borders on the airport. Roy tells me it's not a very good neighborhood. He was class president and senior honor board president, and then he went to UCLA. My husband Roy, also from Los Angeles, went to USC. His two favorite football teams are USC and whoever is playing UCLA. I find it very interesting that the chap that could command a regiment of Marines becomes a raving lunatic when his football team is losing. So Roy didn't feel very comfortable saying anything nice about a Bruin, so that's why I got the job. Sam graduated from the Los Angeles College of Optometry with a doctor's degree. Then he took postgraduate courses in diametric pharmaceutical, therapeutic pharmaceutical, and glaucoma management. He married Lou in 1978, and then they spent 6 months touring around America and Canada in a motorhome to see if they'd like to live anywhere else than California. They came back and settled in Irvine, and he joined the Lions Club. He was Lion of the Year and served on various service committees in the Orange County Optometry Society. In 1979, he moved to San Francisco, and in 1983, he went into private practice in Los Altos, where he is today, the Los Altos Optometric Group at 133 2nd Street. He was California Optometric Society Speaker of the Year and has held several board positions for the organization. He joined Los Altos Rotary in 1994 and has been Sergeant at Arms, Secretary on the Board of Directors, twice Rotarian of the Year, Club President, and several times Director of Fine Art in the Park. When I read that, I think anyone who becomes the leader of the Fine Art in the Park for a year is a hero. Anyone who does it 5 times is dopey. He became Los Altos Chamber of Commerce, a board member, plus chairman of the board, and serves on the golf committee. He won the John Gardner Building Community Award and the Los Altos Hills Community Service Award. He was active for 16 years in the Boy Scouts in Mountain View and Los Altos. His hobbies are playing the guitar, gardening, and travel. He and Lou have 2 children. No one gets to the top of their profession without help along the way. I have never met anyone who was a good leader that can say, I did it all on my own. Lou has been a great supportive, works with him in the practice, and I know helps with all his charitable endeavors. To be a leader and supervise groups of people who can be a pain in the umpa, it takes a special person. And Sam has demonstrated his willingness and his knack to be a general. He's a joiner, and he always ends up serving on committees. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Pesler.
Like Chief Dan George said in Little Big Man, my heart soars like an eagle to see you all here today. Yes, I am Sam Pesner, your embarrassee for the day. I don't have much to add. Mo, thank you very much. That was a great encapsulation of what I've done. I've done it all for you and my communities, my schools. I look around here and I know that every single one of you is a volunteer just like me. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you for this honor, and we'll keep on volunteering. I also want to especially thank Julie and Gail for all of their work and their encouragement. I want to thank my partner Steve for getting me into Rotary and all of those opportunities. And most of all, Lou, thank you very much.
Sam, this is the plaque from Los Altos Chamber of Commerce on this award. It goes along with your badge here, your new bow tie. And in addition, my wife must have taken my script here. I'm lost. What I want to do now, we have several presentations to be made by the people of the community. Once you come up and do your presentation, would you please stay so we can get pictures of everybody? Okay, Senator Jerry Hill, County Supervisor.
Thank you very much. And Sam, you know, you make the state what it is, the golden state, and it's because of your efforts and the efforts of everyone in this room, and contributions that have made it as great as it is, and it will continue to be as long as you keep working, doing all of those things. Sam, thank you very much.
County Supervisor Joe Simidian.
Sam, on behalf of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, it is my privilege to convey to you one free spa treatment.
Thank you for everything. Thank you. Jerry Dennis, representing Sullivan Rich Gordon.
On behalf of the Assemblyman who could not be here today, I want to present you with this certificate. I personally say that I think most of my office goes to your practice, so thank you for all the work you do there for our eyes.
Yes, Mayor Pepper.
Thank you, Sam, for choosing Los Altos as the place that you did business so that we get the benefit of all your wonderful volunteer activities.
And Mayor Corrigan.
Thanks very much. Sam, thank you so much for all the work you do for our community. This is from the city of Los Altos Hills.
Thank you very much. Would you like to say anything else?
Other than the fact that I'm going to need a new wall, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And what more can I say? Thanks.
It's yours, Scott.
All right, thank you. Congratulations again, Sam. So I just had a few last points that I wanted to make before we wrap up and let everybody go enjoy their Friday afternoon. So first of all, I want to say special thanks to Fremont Hills Country Club and especially John Mordini and his staff for today's lunch. It was wonderful. Thank you very much. Also wanted to remind everybody that if you're interested, that this lunch will be cablecast on KMTV channel 15 sometime this summer, so please check the chamber website and for time and then last is the centerpieces that are on your tables. Those were donated by Brian Davino of Davino Florists, and thank you again to him for donating those. And so those are for us to take, so I would like the tallest person at every table to take the centerpiece. You may have to stand up and see it. Okay. And last, congratulations again to Sam Pesner, and thank you to the mayors, Courtney and Jan, for your presentation.